What's up, Steno babes? It's your boy, Jack.
And your girl, Des.
We are two court reporters
With one podcast.
ready to tell you all of our stories.
We're taking you through the court reporting profession through our eyes.
So get ready because we're about to go on the record.
Do you solemnly state that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth?
I do.
Then let's go.
This is the Steno Pod. What's up, Steno fam? We're back for another episode of the Steno Pod. I'm joined here with my co-host, Desiree Cooks. How's it going, Des?
It's going good. We are here.
Happy Friday. Happy
Friday.
Made it through another week.
Yes, we're almost literally close to New Orleans. Cannot
Well,
wait.
by the time this episode comes out, it'll be Friday of the New Orleans conference. So
right.
we'll be in New
Yes.
Orleans when everyone listens to this. So that's fun.
Yes.
You all, we are joined today by one of my favorite people. Literally, her name is Allegra Rineer, Esquire. She's an attorney. And the second Des and I started meeting and like manifesting, creating a podcast, we started last year, and then we started meeting and seriously talking about it this year. And we literally had like a list of guests of like people we have to have. And I was like, we have to have an attorney. And you were in like the original draft. Your name was the only attorney we listed. So the fact that you messaged me and was like, oh my gosh, we should talk about, the cases we've been on and stuff. I was like, this is literally perfect. We already had you like listed as someone we want to interview. So this is so exciting. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Allegra Rineer to the podcast. Hi, Allegra.
Welcome.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here, and I am honored that I've made the short list, and so honored to be here today. Thank you.
I think Jack literally was like, I have an attorney friend. She's so great. She's going to be so great on here. And it was you.
Oh, love that. Thank you.
Yep. You've been like all over the world in 80 days, I feel like you're literally on a world tour. Are you Beyonce or like what's going on?
Really? A world tour? Do give us the details on that.
I've just been traveling a lot the past week. I mean, that's why my voice is extra husky today, because I've just been going. And I was in Boca Raton for an attorney training and little kind of firm retreat. And then I was in San Diego today. We actually did a press conference for some cases that our firm just filed on. So I've just been planes, trains, and automobiles all over the country. Yes.
Seriously. Oh my gosh.
Amazing.
Do you like that though? Or are you more a homebody? Would you rather be like, or do you need to recharge, but then you're like, oh, I like to travel and go everywhere?
So right at this exact moment, I'm exhausted.
I'm sure.
Yeah, she wants her bed and a blanket.
Yeah. The truthful answer is, I mean, it's fun, right? I mean, you get to go to cool places that I might not go to on my own. And it's fun. I enjoy it. I work remotely. I work from home. So I don't really get to interact with my coworkers, my colleagues, and people in person as often anymore. So getting to do this is fun, but it also takes a lot out of you. And although I'm kind of an extrovert, I'm really like an introverted extrovert. I need to be home. Right. I need to recharge. I need to have my time alone. So I'm glad to be back, but I do enjoy it. It's fun.
One thing I think people don't realize is being in the legal field is so overstimulating. It's so you love being around people, but you're also like, I need to get away. Like I just need to go home.
Especially if you're like any sort of like an empath or sensitive to like energy. I hate to like throw out all the holistic things, but that's how I am too. I have to get my energy from myself. So I have to like not isolate, but like just be with myself and just calm, quiet, peace before I can like bring my energy and bring my levels up for other people. Like I don't get energy from being around people. I have to get it from myself, which people wouldn't think. I seem super like extroverted, and I totally am, but I definitely get my energy like from myself and being alone before I go out and be by people.
Right. Totally. And I think especially like if you're any kind of litigator and you're doing depots all the time and the kind of work I do, I mean, it requires a lot of my energy. So yeah, I'm with you right there.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the kind of work you do, so you're an attorney. Tell us a little bit about your journey as an attorney. What age were you when you decided this is what I want to do? Have you always known you wanted to be an attorney your whole life? Or what was it that made you go, this is what I want to do? I want to go to law school.
Well, my path to becoming a lawyer is completely untraditional. I never wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a movie star from like the time I could remember. I started dancing when I was 2, when I did my first play when I was 4. And I was a big musical theater geek growing up.
We're twins.
Yeah.
Literally,
I already know this answer, but I'm just like, I can't wait for everyone to hear, because I'm like, I know this answer. This is what we bonded over. But
yeah. So I went to a performing arts high school, the Orange County High School of the Arts. And then I went to college and did musical theater. And then I actually moved to LA after college and was, pursuing a career. And really, I was waiting tables and auditioning through my early 20s. And then my husband doesn't love when I tell this story anymore, but when he actually was convicted of a crime he didn't commit. And so,
Really?
Really?
yeah, so we were young. I think I was 23, 24 when that happened. Went through the whole criminal justice system, had never experienced anything like that before. First trial ended up in a mistrial. Second trial, he was convicted by jury.
Are you
Yeah,
kidding me? A whole
What?
jury trial and everything?
yeah, it was
That must have
really
been
intense.
so hard.
It was crazy. It was like, it sounds really naive, especially because we are exposed to so much injustice. We get to see, every single day what goes on in the world. And I just kind of lived a sheltered life. And this was a while ago before we had a really 24-hour news cycle. And so we were going through the system, and I was like, here's somebody who has, access to attorneys, and he's educated, and he's white, and like he's getting completely railroaded by the system. So I was thinking, well, what's happening to everyone else who doesn't have the same, opportunity and the same leg up? So I kind of pulled an Elle Woods and said, I think, I want to go to law school. What? Like,
What?
it's
Like
hard.
it's hard?
Like, it's hard.
And you could have looked like Elwood's, just saying.
Oh my gosh. You said
Yeah.
I'll be in Legally Blonde the musical, but I'm also going to be here in real life.
Right.
I
Yeah,
love
so
that.
yeah, so I just decided one day I wanted to go to law school. I took the LSAT, got into law school, and I wanted to be a public defender, but I graduated in the height of the recession in 2011. So there was a hiring freeze from San Diego to Santa Barbara. I couldn't get hired anywhere. So that's how I ended up in civil litigation, but kind of by default. But yeah, it's a very, very different journey, I think, than most. But I'm very grateful to have made it to where I am here today.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so currently right now as an attorney, what do you do now? I know you're in civil litigation, but it sounds like you also do kind of, not criminal law, but it's like you're fighting for justice for people still, right? So
Yeah,
what do you do now?
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, I'm a civil litigator. I represent victims of childhood sexual abuse.
Oh.
So at my firm, Herman Law, that's exclusively what we do. So all of our cases involve children who were abused, or they're adults now, but they were abused as children in an institution. So youth serving organizations like school, church, foster care, those sorts of things.
See, and that's so hard too, because you have to put like I don't know, like a cape on, and you have to fight for these people, and it's hard to hear some of that stuff too, right?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I don't think it's for everyone. I think that it's really like some people just can't compartmentalize. And I don't really know, because people always ask me this question, how is it that you're able to hear these things every day and then still go out in the world and live in it? But I think the blessing we have as lawyers, and one of the reasons I wanted to become an attorney, was to have a skill where I could evoke change, where I could help people. And so in this line of work, I'm really helping people. We're giving a voice to these victims. We're allowing them to heal through this process. And even though we're not changing the world, we're changing their life. We're giving them an opportunity to heal and move forward. And it's actually a blessing. It's a gift. And I feel honored to represent them.
It's kind of like your clients are handing you the torch, like, here, take this pain for me and help me get my justice, right? And you're like the voice for them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a beautiful visual. That's really what it is. And you see it, like through a deposition, even at the end of their deposition, you actually physically see the weight lifted off their shoulders. They can breathe because they're being heard. They're being heard for the first time. And it really is a beautiful thing.
I was just going to say that, Allegra, because that's how we met. Was we worked together, and I was your court reporter on numerous cases. And I always got so excited when I saw your name come up, because I just loved your energy and your vibe, and we bonded. I don't really talk to attorneys that much. I try to just be like, you guys have enough going on. I'm going to stay in my lane. But for whatever reason, because I think we kept seeing each other so frequently, we were like, oh, what's your name? Da, da, da. And we just started like slowly each time talking. But then I think you do we like formed a bond, like a silent bond over watching some of these cases unfold. And that's exactly what I was thinking. I could feel some of these people just telling their story, and it's exactly that. They've never been heard before. They've never been allowed to just like openly tell what happened to them. And there was this like freeing energy with every job I took with you. Every time I left, it was super, super powerful. So that must feel amazing to be on that side of things. And, who knows where it's going necessarily, but sometimes just in that moment in the room, I think a lot of other depositions, it's like, this is just a deposition, let's get through it. But some of those are actually really important and really meaningful for these people. So
Can I ask you a question? Because I'm
yes,
curious about
yes.
you hearing some of this information for the first time. So one of the depots that Jack and I had together was a perp. So perpetrator, and I don't know if you guys, I mean, I'll give a trigger warning. I won't try to get into too many details, but obviously there's some graphic things that happened during a depot. But this particular perpetrator, he had actually served, or he was sentenced to 30 years in prison. He pled guilty to abusing, I think it was like 6 boys at that time. One of them was his biological son. And there were very graphic details that I had to ask him about. So I'm wondering, from your perspective, does that like penetrate you in terms of like your feelings, or are you just like taking the words down and you're not really like allowing it to affect you? I'm curious.
I know exactly what case you're talking about, and I visualize it. I think about that case a lot. And maybe that's kind of a sign right there, because I don't think about every case. A lot of things just go right over my head, but I like to think I don't internalize it. In the moment, my job is to get down those words. It's to make a clear and accurate record for you and for everyone involved. So in the moment, that's what I'm super focused on. But definitely afterwards, when I'm editing and I'm reading the transcript, I'm like, they really just said that? Like, that really happened? Okay. And you can tell, like, a lot of times if they're lying, or if they're fabricating something, or they're trying to like get out of the question. So that one was like beyond disturbing, where I was like, wait, what? And sometimes you can't even imagine it's going to go even further, and the questions you were asking, and I was just like, whoa, like, this is actually crazy. I've never heard something like this in my life. So I think a little bit of both. In the moment, I really am trying to just do a good job and do my job, but I can't say I don't think about it after the fact and just reflect on it, because it's a lot to process, like a lot, and stuff that it's like you would tell people and they would never imagine in their wildest dreams that people are capable of this. It's crazy.
Now, are there opportunities where I'm wondering if there's some court reporters who see my name or see Herman Law, or they know what we do, that would just say, no, I'm not taking the job. Do you know, is that possible, or do they?
Yeah, there are reporters that do. Yeah, I had a cover one time for a reporter because it was too hard for her to hear some of that testimony, and I think it was really triggering because I think she had gone through some of that stuff herself. So there definitely are reporters that if they see certain, like, kind of like you just said, your name or your firm or anything like that, and also the agency will kind of let them know, hey, the these are the kind of cases they take. This is what the case is going to be about, and that way you kind of know, and you kind of know when you walk in, because there are times where agencies don't say anything, and we just kind of walk in blindly. But to answer your question though, I think that when I'm on the record, I have like a wall up, and I think that it's just at that point getting down the testimony. But like Jack said, when you get home, you're in the comfort of your home, you're editing, and you're like, that was said. You're like, I don't even remember them saying that. And then you're reading it. And I think because at that point, when you're editing the transcript, you're reading for context now. You're not just hearing the words and taking them down. You're actually reading to make sure, or like, you're reading a book, you're reading for like the subject, what's going on. And that way you can get like a visual of what's happening. And yeah, you start to like think about, oh my God, some people really did go through some of the craziest things in life.
Um, the I'm trying to think how to ask this. I'm super uneducated. I'm not an attorney, so this is going to be super like clunky. But is it a recent thing, the statute of limitations thing? Is that like a recent thing, and that's why all these people are able to come forward now? Like, is it in the past? Like, is there a certain amount of time where it can be like a criminal charge, and then now it can't be? Like, what makes it civil? Is it because of the statute of limitations? Like, what is that? I don't even know if I'm making any sense, or if you get what I'm trying to ask.
I do.
Is it like the state
Okay.
of California allowed for these cases to come in now? I believe, right? Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So in 2020, a law called AB 218 was passed, and AB 218 revived the statute of limitations for childhood sexual abuse.
Got it. Okay.
So any case that was previously time barred was revived for a 3-year period. So from 2020 through 2023, if you had been sexually abused at any point as a child, your case was revived. The window then closed. So there's no new case. Well, that's not true. The window closed. So those cases that had been previously revived are no longer revived. But it also changed the statute of limitations to age 40. So if you were abused and you're under 40, you can still file your suit. So if you live in California and you're a victim of childhood sexual abuse, yes, your civil statute doesn't run until you turn 40.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Back then, the times were so different, right? So that's why so many people didn't come forward. Now we're in a time where victims are able to come forward. They have more of a voice. How does it feel to be part of a time where you're a part of the victims being able to come forward? They can come to you. Like, it's such a different time. How does it feel being able to represent these people who trust you with with their trauma?
Well, what's been so interesting and kind of a learning lesson for me along the way is so just a little bit more background. In 2014, I started my own law firm, and my first case I ever took was a child who was sexually abused in school. So I've been litigating these type of cases for over 10 years. But he at the time was still a minor. He was still a child. So I worked on these types of cases, but not in the context that I am now, where I have people coming forward I have these men who are like 60 years old who have literally never told anyone the details of their abuse. Maybe, even coming to our firm and coming forward, they'll say they were abused, but they're not ready to get into the details. So I'm, learning how to talk to survivors, how to, explain what we call a compliant victim. When you're a child and you're abused, I think people think of abuse as like this, forcible thing. And I'm sorry, not, trigger warning for anyone. It's just, but a lot of times children, they're called compliant victims, where they are participating for whatever reason because they've been groomed and it's a trusted adult. And there's this, so we have to go through all of this and talk to them and teach them and get them into a place where they're feeling comfortable enough to share. But it's very powerful because you are sometimes the first person they're saying, I've never told anyone this before. I can't, and so I have to sit, I'm like a pseudo therapist, which is kind of hard because I don't have the training. I don't have the skills. I'm learning as I go, but I feel incredible. Like when I say I feel honored and privileged to represent these people, I really do. They're sharing the darkest, times in their life with me. And I just feel privileged that they feel comfortable enough to share that with me. And I think it takes a certain kind of personality. Not everyone can do this work for a number of reasons, but I also think if you aren't someone who is empathetic or who can sit and have these conversations or uncomfortable with the subject matter, then you're not going to be the best advocate for your client. So I like it. I know it sounds really weird to say, but I think it's meaningful work. We work so hard in this profession. So you got to do something that you feel is matters in the world.
I love that. Perfect answer too. Because you do have to have you do have to kind of have be strong to be able to hear that. I couldn't be able to hear that every single day. And you do.
Unfortunately. And, the best thing would be is if there was no work for us, but it just never ends.
Oh, it's so crazy. I always know I had one this past week too. Anytime I see like the initials versus, it's always like LAUSD. I feel like the school district.
Yeah.
And I'm
No
like,
comment.
no, right. No comment.
Right there. Sorry.
But I'm always like, oh, this is my Allegra. Like these are her cases. And we weirdly always end up, I'm always in like a department you're in, but you're on like a different case. And I'm always texting you like, hey, I'm in the same department. Hi, you're on Court
How
Connect,
did you not
whatever.
get my case? That's what I get more mad about. I'm like,
I know.
You're there. Why aren't you on my case?
Thank you. I know. I don't know.
Speaking of you guys, both of you, I heard you guys had some crazy cases together. I think our viewers would love to know what kind of cases you guys have been on together.
When people ask me, I'm sure people ask you this too, Allegra, but as court reporters too, we always get, what is the craziest thing you've ever heard or seen? And I always thought it was like, oh, like an actual case, like what's the craziest case? But like, no, like I've had the craziest person I've ever met with you in one of your depositions. And I know you know what I'm talking about.
Of course I do. So it was, well, first of all, it was an in-person depo, which I don't know for you guys, but they're rare these days still for me. I don't have a ton of in-person depos, but we scheduled an in-person depo. So we're all schlepping to LA and we get to our building and yeah, okay. So I just can't, I don't even know where to begin. So it's a third-party witness.
It sounds like it's one of those stories. Like, where do you start?
No, where do you begin? Yeah.
So it's my depo. So I'm the noticing attorney, and I know she does not want to be there. She's made that abundantly clear from the second she walked in.
Oh my God.
So she told us she wasn't feeling well. She had a mask on.
Yep.
She just was giving hints that, I mean, it was, and like when I say hints, they were not hints. They were very clear statements that she did not want to participate in this deposition. So I'm just there to get the information I need. I'm going to get in and out because I don't need to keep her here long. It's not going to be good for anyone. That was an accurate thought. And so I get through my questioning. She's not very helpful. She's combative. She's angry. She made it clear she didn't want to be testifying. She was angry that she'd been subpoenaed.
Mm-hmm.
Then defense counsel decides it's his turn to go, and he's not going to let her off easy. It was, he was antagonizing her for the sake of antagonizing her. I think Jackie would agree with that.
1000%. He would not let anything go. Like, it was like
he was seeing
over
her
and over.
Get a rise to get her to get the reaction he ended up getting.
Yep.
She at one point, which one do I even start with? Well, she was saying how her stomach was hurting her and how it was like she was in pain, but she wasn't saying it like this. I'm not going to scream, but there was a lot of yelling. She proceeds to stand up, lift up her shirt, pull her pants, like waistband down to show her hernias that were sticking through her stomach.
You guys saw her hernias?
Yes. I've never seen one in my life. But yes, numerous times. And mind you, Allegra's being sweet, but she is literally like, I'm so sick of this shit. Let me out of here. I have a effing hernia. Look. And then she's literally screaming like that. Her mask is falling down her face. She's like, I'm sick. I don't feel good. You are ruining my life. You are wasting my time. I want to go home. And I kid you not, it was this for like hours, over and over. And then it'd be like,
hours?
But
yes.
Jack, okay, Desiree, Jack is at the other end of the table, the head of the table. And he's typing away. And I'm on the other end. Mm-hmm. And I look over every time she lifts her shirt up. And he's just like this. I will explain it, but he's typing hands straight and he turns his head away. Yep. Because he can't look at her just lifting her shirt up. And I'm looking at him trying not to laugh because it's not, it's hysterical, but she wasn't being funny. She was very mad.
She was serious.
And he's asking the same question over and over again. And she just kept saying, keep asking me the same fucking question and screaming at him. And then he goes, he's like, he's reading some papers and he's like reading them and telling her what the papers. She said, I don't care. You can take your papers and shove them up your twat.
Oh yeah. That is literally, that's what I tell everyone. This is the craziest thing that was said, not to me, but to this attorney. You take that paper and shove it right up your twat. Like, first of all, that word, I haven't heard that word in forever.
Do you have a shortcut for twat now?
That one writes itself. It's literally just TWAT. Yeah, you can just, that's easy. But yep, I was like, I never had to write that. I added that word into my dictionary. That was fun. But no, literally, anytime she did anything, I literally would just turn my head because the window is right here. I'm like looking out the window and I'm literally like, my shoulders are shaking. I'm laughing. Normally, I can keep it together, but I kid you not, I could not get over that what was happening and that we're on the record, that this is like a proceeding.
It was all on the record. And at one point, do you remember when her mask fell down and then she was screaming about how she's probably giving us all COVID because she was screaming and like spraying. Like it was a very, and then she had some missing teeth and then she started eating Cheetos on the record. And so she's like had to suck on them because like she was missing teeth.
Yes.
It was,
so she's like doing that. She took a phone call in the middle of it. She's like, they're still making me be here. This is all on the record. We have to like go and read this transcript because I bet it's absolutely amazing and entertaining.
Is it videotaped?
Oh yeah, I've watched the video.
Oh my God. Someone's going to have to send me that. Yeah. Someone's going to have to send me that because I shoved up his door.
Oh,
do you remember
it was
she was
video.
Screaming at the videographer was so scared.
That's right.
I don't think he's ever working again. Like he needed to go on leave. He was
because
she
took her huge backpack and went like this and put it right in front of her face. And so the videographer was like, excuse me, ma'am, can you just move your backpack? And she's like, what did you say to me? I want your card. I want your card. I want your card. I want your card. I want everyone's card in this mother effing room. Like the whole time she's talking like this. And then it'd be like, ma'am, how old are you? I don't give a fuck. Ma'am, when were you born? I don't give a fuck. And it was over and over. Don't care. She'd be like, don't care. Don't care. Don't care. Like over and over. And then all of a sudden, this is the best thing. She's going through her bag. Mind you, she's like shuffling through her things. She's like, oh yeah, I think I have COVID. And now all of you in this room probably have COVID. She's like going through her bag. All of a sudden she takes out a cigarette. And she's literally lighting it while we're sitting there. She's starting to light it. It like doesn't light, but she's like, I'm going to have a smoke. She takes all of her crap. That was I literally was like, are we still on the record? And then I was like, I guess we're taking a break. She just left.
But she came back.
She came
I
back.
did not think she was going to come back because she was like, I don't want to be here. Can I leave? Can I leave? Can I leave? And he wouldn't tell her yet. I mean, leave. I thought she was going to leave. And then
I totally thought she would.
And
Especially because we were like up a few floors. Like it was a bigger building. So she had to go down and outside. I was like, oh, she's leaving. Like she's gone. But there she came
we
back
all were
and she
left.
I kind of was I was like, oh. But also it was like so entertaining. I'm like, I need to see how this ends. But I'm also a little scared because she's like shuffling through this bag, and I'm like, I don't know what's in this bag. I mean, I don't think she's capable of anything. Like, but you just never know. And I was like, where is this headed? Like, are we okay? And that attorney was driving me absolutely insane. Like,
because she actually did have a point. She's like, you keep asking me the same fucking question over and over, and he was, but he was doing it for this purpose. So, like, I actually. Personally, he's one attorney I actually really do not like. He doesn't even acknowledge me when I walk in a room. He's very rude, and he was doing it on purpose. But I mean, it was funny after the fact, but it was in the moment. It was because it was so erratic and it was so irrational and it was so highly charged with like her anger. I was like, I don't know if she's going to be violent. I don't know what's going to happen, and we're all stuck in this room. It was.
You guys are all literally at her mercy.
She was up on the table, like she was like up, almost like leaning over the table. I wanna go home. And like,
also, she wasn't even sitting down.
No, well, she would, but then she'd get up, and if she was really enraged, and sometimes she was standing, she was walking around, she was on the phone. I'm missing. I think it was someone's birthday. She was super mad. She was missing.
It was very entertaining.
I
mean, but imagine if. Never mind, I won't. But
imagine what you have to tell us.
Imagine calling her into trial.
Right.
Like, would she have done that in front of a judge?
Probably.
Well, and the crazy thing was she was like, she didn't do anything wrong. She didn't like, she was just telling like her side of the story of what happened, and like it could have been really like easy to the point. And I feel like that's what your questions were fine. Like it was like perfect, and like that's all that needed to be said. But then it was just this other element of it where it's like, what are we trying to do? Like, what is she just happened to like witness something, like one part of the story, and that's all she's telling.
Jeez, there's just witnesses that you just will never forget. And she's one.
She is one.
She was one of them. Yep, I think. No,
I had a depo one time, and it was one of those ones where the judges had to come like monitor it because it was just so bad with the witness. And the judge was like, answer the question. He's like, no, you know what? You fat fuck. I'm not going to answer the question. Yes, to the judge. And the judge was like, don't talk to me like that. I was like, who are these witnesses?
That's kind of amazing, actually.
Well, part of me wants to see like how she would have survived in a court setting, because like you can't be whipping out a cigarette out of your bag and munching on your chips and
I eat Cheetos, I'm gonna think of that. She was slurping on the Cheetos.
Yeah, and it was like falling out of her mouth, like the crumbs. And like it was not great. It wasn't great.
Oh yeah, but it was really, really, really funny. I mean, we'll never forget it.
I always just get not scared, but I'm always like, especially when I'm on the record. This happened. I talked about this on our last episode, but I had like a pro per the other day, and I just asked him to repeat what he said, and he looked at me and he was like, I'm speaking with the judge right now. You don't need to talk to me. But he had no idea what I was doing. He had no idea that I was a court reporter or what a court reporter even is. So the judge had to explain, sir, he's taking down what you're saying. He didn't understand you. You have to repeat it for him. So I think in court, that's easy. But in like a deposition, when they start, and she did a little bit, she'd look at me and be like, where are you from? Where's your card? I need your card. And I'm just like, mind you, I'm on the record. Like, I'm still trying to do my job. So it's like this fine line of like, okay, like when do I engage? I try not to at all. I try to stay super, but it's like when they start to involve you, it's like, what are we supposed to do? It's crazy.
I know.
I would have loved it. I would have loved it if you were like, was that twat? Is that what you said?
And what is the spelling on that twat, please? No. She takes the cake.
I think it would have been iconic if she said that, like ass. If she said shove it up your ass, that
she did. Twat. Oh no, she said twat, but I feel like she said other things, like literally the whole time. Yeah, she was just like,
you that she said some other things.
I'm sure.
No, yeah, she was like, oh, you fucking wasting my life. You are wasting my life sitting here with you. I don't want to talk to you. I mean, it was great. And the attorney was just like sitting in silence while she just went on. So
do you remember when she got up and was like pacing, and then he told the cameraman, he's like, get her on camera, he made the cameraman move it because he was just trying to get this. The whole thing was for him to just get her riled up and to document it. But
Totally.
I did feel for her because she clearly had hernias that needed to be attended to.
I'm like, honey, you need to be in a doctor's office, not this deposition. Damn.
Exactly. No, but wait, she wasn't going to get them taken care of any other day, but on that depo day, she wanted to get them taken care of.
It was. I don't know. I don't know the purpose of showing us the hernias. I don't know anything other than it was so awful. It was so gross.
I've never seen anything. Yeah, that was crazy. Okay, well, moving on from that.
Sharp turn.
Yeah.
Sharp turn. Yeah,
nice little U-turn.
skirt. Allegra, do you have any? The answer might be no. I kind of hope it's no, but do you have any like crazy story with a court reporter? Unless it's maybe that story with you and I, or do you have like um anything you recall that I don't know if a court reporter had to like interrupt a proceeding or do anything weird, or for the most part, have you had like good experiences with court reporters? And also, did you know what a court reporter was when you got into law school, or was that something you learned along the way? Like, oh, like there's a court reporter that's going to make the record.
Jack, that was extremely compound. Just kidding.
I know that was very
I'm kidding, Jack.
compound and vague and ambiguous. Yeah.
Vague and ambiguous.
So as far as knowing what a court reporter was, I think it's hard for me to remember pre-law school, but I think I knew from like Judge Judy or like from court, like from those type of shows, but not like, but only in a courtroom setting because I didn't really know anything about civil litigation. So I just knew if a court reporter is in a courtroom during trial. That's was my point of reference.
Yep.
So no, I guess not really, not like I do now. But I don't have like any horror stories or anything crazy. I'm just trying to think. I know. I wish I did. I'll probably think of one, but I've been thinking about this, but I just don't. The things that I think are annoying that like will happen with a court reporter is like today I was late, but like if this happened just the other day, there was like major technical difficulties, and it's like and normally we can be easy, but when you've got a third party witness, you couldn't barely get them there, and now like their backup computer crashed, their main computer's not working, they've got gardeners going, there's sound. I'm like we need to get through this and we need to get it done. I don't really have the patience, which I'm normally quite patient, but that kind of thing is frustrating because it's like we're relying on you guys to get it set up, get it done, and get it handled. And so when that happens, that's the only thing, but that's like just an annoyance that stuff happens. So you can't be mad at people, but that kind of thing. I don't know.
So are you saying in regards to like, are you saying like in regards to when court reporters get mad when those things happen?
No, like when what's happening to them. Like
the court reporters, like their stuff is, their equipment's not working, or there's something that they're like, well, hold up. Like, that is annoying.
I don't know if you guys have software or something that you use. Like her software wasn't working, and then her computer wasn't working, and then she had to switch. We had to stop so many times, and she's like, "Someone's at my house, and the gardeners are going." It was the whole time.
Oh my gosh!
So it just I don't know. It happens, but it just felt annoying.
Yeah, I feel like things happen, but also you need to learn. Like when I was at my old place when I lived in Anaheim, every Tuesday the gardeners were there at 9 a.m. and depots start at 10 a.m. usually. So I knew if I had a depot around 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, I couldn't do it at my house because they literally come right outside and it's so loud. It's so annoying. I can mute myself, but it's still not going to be, good for me. I'm still trying to hear. So in that case, I would text KW and be like, hey, can I come use your conference room for the day and just take this remote depot from a quiet conference room? Of course. Yes, come. So it's like, I feel like, have that learning experience, like the one time where it's like, okay, that sucked. But then figure it out. Like court reporters, come on, we can, text a lot of agencies or places you can, just go sit in their conference room and do it.
And I feel like if we're billing high rates, court reporters are not cheap. I'm sure you know that, Allegra. We're not cheap. So we can invest in good equipment for Zoom. I mean, I don't think internet, if you want to get the highest kind of internet, it's not that expensive. You already have internet. You just got to upgrade a little. Yeah, I hear stories like that a lot, the whole technical thing. And it's the reporters that don't want to go in person who want to stay on Zoom, but then they have all of these issues too.
Yeah. I also think that there's one in particular that I'm thinking of. I know sometimes we have to slow down. I know sometimes we talk over each other. I know sometimes we have to repeat, but sometimes they can be so bitchy when they're asking you to. I'm like, don't be nasty. honesty, you know?
Oh,
No,
no.
it's so true. I can't even tell you how many times I've had like arbitrations, and the one thing I get told is, "Oh, you're actually nice to us," or "Oh, when you interrupt, you're nice." And I'm like, so I ask because I'm very curious. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And they'll say, "Oh, the reporter in the deposition, she was so rude to us." And one time they played the audio, and it just so happened, like they were trying to impeach a witness, and it just so happened that they caught the reporter, interrupting, and she was so rude. All of us were like, she did not just yell at the witness like that. She was like, "I'm not going to tell you again to slow down." I was like,
Oh,
there's
God.
no way you're talking to this witness like a child.
Right. That's going to have like an adverse effect too. Like you have to talk, like people are not used to being in a proceeding like this, it's,
No, at all.
so you have to educate people a little bit. If I ever speak up, I think I did it once today. I want to say I like rarely do it, but when I do it, it's because I physically cannot hear. I don't know what you said, or the door slammed and I didn't hear what you said. And it's just a clarification and it's super quick. Like, wait, what was that? Can you please repeat that for me? But yeah, I can't imagine like yelling at someone that doesn't even probably know we're there and what we're doing.
Well,
So
and
that is frustrating.
from an attorney's perspective, I understand completely that you guys have to make the record. And it's not that I'm not intentionally talking over the witness. I'm not intentionally speaking too fast. So if you have to remind me, I get it, but don't be mean to me. I'm not doing it to make your job harder. I promise.
Right.
Any students or any new reporters, please be nice. If you're listening, please. I always tell people it costs nothing to be nice. Nothing. If a witness speaks fast a couple of times and you have to keep reminding them, it's new. I always tell, anybody, I'm like, think about it this way. You have an attorney questioning you. If it's a videotape depo, you have a camera in your face. You have your attorney next to you telling you, "Hey, you already answered the question," or "Don't do that," or "If I object, go ahead and answer." You have to remember all the ground rules they tell you in the beginning, and then you have a court reporter right here telling you, "Don't do this, don't do that." Can you imagine the pressure on someone? I sure as hell would not be able to do that.
Yeah.
At all. Or even if you're like in trial or in an arbitration, you have a judge right here that's like, "Do you solemnly swear?" It's like, you're scared already. No, people make mistakes.
I do have to say I do have this like
What?
this daydream that I consistently have of me getting my deposition taken and how I would act and what I would do. And I start it by saying, "Hi, my name is Jack, and yes, you can forego with all the regular admonitions. I'm ready to begin." Like I already just to like play their game back at them, be like, "No, you don't have to ask me any like I know what I'm doing. Like, yes, I know I'm under oath. Yes, I know it's under the penalty of perjury. Yes, I know. Like, so
Do you
I
guys-
have this like daydream where I'm like, I would be the perfect witness, but also like I don't want to end up in that scenario in no case. But
you don't want to be deposed.
Yeah,
But
and all your answer would be yes, no, and I don't know.
1000%, or I don't recall. Yep, super easy to the point.
do you guys I mean, I'm sure you do, and I'm sure you talk a lot of crap at your conferences and when you all get together on us attorneys. But what do we as attorneys do that either make you mad, make your job harder? Like, or are you ever sitting there going like, "This is the dumbest questions. These are the dumbest questions I've ever heard. This is a terrible lawyer." I'm just curious about those kinds of stories.
Mm-hmm. I think
The only thing that go ahead, Jack, go ahead.
no, you go.
The only thing that I think that pisses me off, or like, because mind you, I'm very easygoing at that thing, but the only thing that I don't like is I only have 2 hours left. We can forego lunch, and it's like, okay, 2 hours left, cool. Then you because you're like, I want to get out too, and then 2 hours turns into 4 hours because you don't know how a witness is going to answer.
I
Right?
hate
You could
that.
say
Yeah.
2 hours, but a witness can ramble on for 5 years, and you're screwed. And then it's like, we're at 4:30, and I'm like, "Counsel, I haven't eaten. I need to eat something." Okay, we only have 20 minutes left. I'm like, that's the only thing I think that bothers me. And the
I
court
can totally agree with that, and that literally happened to me today. My hearing was supposed to be like it literally started with we can start with you guys because their court connect was completely effed. It wasn't working. So they started with our matter because we were the only people in person. He was like, "This should only take like 5 to 10 minutes, so we can just start with you guys, even though you're one of the last matters. And then once they start getting Court Connect working, like we can go back to that, and then we'll come back to you." Which I was kind of like, "Why wouldn't you just finish with us and then do that?" But so we start with us, and it's like 5 minutes, it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour and 15 minutes. At an hour and 15 minutes, we reached page 100 for a hearing.
What?
I was like, okay. And then they got LA Court Connect working, and he was like, "Okay, we're gonna put a pause on this." Which, mind you, I'm like, "Can we please just finish this? Like, how much longer?" We're going to put a pause on this. We'll come back to it. So then he went to the normal 8:30 calendar. There was like 15 matters, did all of them. I'm just sitting there like waiting, got through all of them. We go back on the record. We continue with this hearing and we're going. And it's kind of that same, it's like, and it was weird because the judge was trying to be like, we got to move this along. We got to get through this. But then he would go on these like tangents and he would yell at the attorneys to be like, stop going on a tangent. We have to get through this. But then he was so guilty of himself. He wasn't like trying to get through everything. There was like a million motions in limine and they're like going through all these things. And all of a sudden it's 11:55 and he's looking at the clock and he's like, so we're not going to finish. We're not going to finish this before lunch. So see you all back at 1:30. And the clerk looked at me and was like, can the court reporter be that? And I was like, no, I actually can't. I might have told a white lie and said I had to be in Long Beach for a case, but I really had to be in Long Beach to get my nails and a haircut done for my 30th birthday this weekend. But seriously, like, come on. If I would have known this was going to go, the thing went all day, you guys. Like, I had to find a new reporter to come in at 1:30.
Oh my goodness.
So I think that's my biggest thing. I know sometimes you have no idea what the time estimate's going to be, how long, but like Allegra, yours are always super consistent unless you have some crazy other attorney that's like you have no control over. But like have a general sense of like how long it's going to be. If I need to know that I have to put out my whole day, got it. Like I'll be here. But in scenarios like this where it's like it was like the judge himself was like, this should take 5 to 10 minutes, and we're there for hours on end, got to page 150 in just the morning. It's just like, how did we get here? I don't get it. And it's just talking in circles. It's talking in circles. It's not moving anything along. So that's my biggest thing is like time estimates.
I think Allegra too, I will say, I think women, lawyers, attorneys are more efficient than men. Oh my gosh. I swear women just get it done. Very, very like considerate of the record. And I'm not just saying that I'm a woman, but no, it is so true. It's the men I have sometimes, you know, where women are like to the point, boom, I have all my documents ready. I'm going to send them to the court reporter. I know my outline. I know how much time. Very, very to the point for sure.
I notice men like to like play a game more. It's very like let me get this and like let me get this out of you and let me ask these calculating questions, and I'm just like, can we just please get to the point? Like, come on.
Well, they really think they're doing something and you're like, just ask the question. Like,
right.
Exactly.
It's like, and the ones that want to fight all the time, I'm like, I just keep it moving. Like, let's just get it done.
Deal with that? How do you deal with all that? Because that's right. That's one thing Jack and I were talking about last episode is how attorneys can agree on the record or disagree about something, but there's times where it's a fighting match and you guys are arguing. And how do you deal with that when you have, you know, men? Sometimes they do. I see that sometimes they do try to degrade women attorneys. How do you deal with that?
So I'm not very confrontational. I don't enjoy arguing, which people might think you do when you're an attorney, but I don't. And I get kind of taken off guard. I'm not like, I don't handle it really well. I'm not that quick on my feet when someone's like being really aggressive towards me, but I've learned to kind of take a breath and give it back and not be as intimidated. I had a situation, I didn't even know how to handle it during a depo where an attorney objected to me attaching a document. Like they produced it and I said, okay, I'm gonna attach these documents collectively as exhibit 3. And they were like, no. I was like, well, no, this is my deposition. These are the documents you produced in response to the request for production. And he was like, no, I'm objecting to that. They should be marked individually. I said, you're not going to tell me how to take my depo and how to mark my exhibits. But you know what happened? I was told later when I sent them to the court reporter, exhibit 3, they weren't allowed to do it because he objected to it. I was like, that's the rule? I didn't even know, because that's never happened to me.
That's not true. She should have just attached it and then you guys handle it in court.
Yeah.
Because like if
attach it.
Yeah,
That's
you still
weird.
she's supposed to still attach it because even like if they designate a transcript confidential and another attorney objects, you still mark it confidential and then they handle it in court.
Yeah, so
she said
What the
that.
heck?
Oh heck! Well, give me her info. Let me school her.
Well, I think that it was a agency decision that like
really,
couldn't. Yeah,
but I think in this the.
I know. I'm like, you produced them. I've identified the Bates numbers. Like, this is what the documents are. I mean, there's no objection. I mean, we knew what they were. So, yeah.
That is so weird that
it was just it was a strange situation. And I've never had an attorney say that to me. And I didn't really know how to handle it. But I just told him, you're not going to tell me how to take my deposition. This is my deposition. I'll mark my documents how I see fit.
Right.
And left it at that.
You're paying for the depo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just, it
Wow.
was weird, but
That is weird.
I want to know how many times do you hear an attorney say, "Okay, I only have one more question," and then has it ever been only
Oh
one more
my
question?
God, no. Or how they say, I just have a few questions. I'm like, oh, it shouldn't take too long. And you're like,
I know.
oh,
No,
you brace yourself.
that goes back to like the big pet peeve, but that's it, where it's like the time estimate. Like, really? Do you have one more question? Really? Oh, I only have, I probably only have another 30 minutes. Turns into 3 hours. It's like, oh my God. Okay,
No,
cool.
the one pet peeve I really, really have
I love
is
these.
the only thing is like when attorneys will ask a question, right? And it's like it's like 5 lines long. And then they say, strike that. And you're like, oh
Right.
no.
Do you know that,
One time-
Allegra, that when you guys say strike that, nothing gets actually stricken? Like, we
Yeah.
literally
Yeah, she
physically
knows
write,
that.
yeah, like, but I
Yes.
feel, okay, good. Yeah, but I
Because
feel
I've
like,
seen it.
yeah,
I
you
didn't know
read
that
it.
obviously when I first started practicing, but then
Right.
I'll hear people do it. I don't really say that because I'm like, I'll just be like, I gotta start over. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you said a stupid, you've had, it's like a dumb question, or you just
Right.
lost your train of thought. Sometimes I get self conscious because I'm like, hey, I can sound like a valley girl sometimes, so I try not to, obviously, in a depot. But so I'll read my transcripts to see how many times I say like. But
strike that.
I don't think I say strike that very often, just because it sounds stupid and I know it's not being
Mhm.
stricken. So I don't really know
Right.
why anyone says it.
No, it's so weird. I had this this big attorney, like he has huge cases, and um but he, over and over, constantly, he says withdrawn. Like, he'll say something and be like, well, da 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 da, and he'll be like, withdrawn, and he looks at me every time he says it. And then he was like, that bumps it down to like a paragraph, right? When I say withdrawn. And I was like, well, yes, but also you don't have to say anything. If you're going to say something new, I'm going to paragraph it already for you. So stop saying withdrawn. So all you see is like withdrawn, withdrawn. And it just says that word. It's not like a set, like, I'm just like, what are you doing?
No, but I think Jack too, because a lot of reporters don't paragraph that. You would be shocked to know how many transcripts I
Really?
see that they don't paragraph. There's
Well,
like sometimes 10 lines and I'm like, there's no paragraph.
well, hell no. Yeah, I try to paragraph like while I'm writing in the
Me too,
moment.
yeah.
So I can, because of how everything's said. And when something's new, like even if someone's like, okay, and they're saying okay to the previous thing, then I want to paragraph the next thing. So it's like a new thought, a new question,
Right.
whatever's happening.
Like a new
So yeah,
topic.
that's weird.
One
Mhm.
time, okay, so it was a third party witness, and notice the first guy went, and he was so direct with his questions, like boom, 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 boom. It was like yes, no, I don't know, I don't know. His questions were so well thought out, right? Then goes the next guy, right, and it's like 6 to 7 lines. Strike that, and he's starting a new thing. Strike that, and so I accidentally was off of mute,
Oh.
and I literally was like, when he said strike that, I was like, oh my god. Like I sighed so loud, and he's like, "Sorry, madam court reporter," and I was like, "I'm sorry." The first attorney, the whole office started laughing, and I saw the first attorney again on another depot, and he's like, "The whole office heard you sigh and heard him say sorry to you, and we just could not stop laughing. We had to turn off the camera." And I was like, it was so embarrassing.
Have you ever gotten the church giggles during a depot like that? Like I call in the church giggles where you're not allowed to
No,
laugh. But
Oh
I
yeah,
love-
all the time, all the
that's
time.
exactly what I call it too. And everyone's always like, what's the church giggles? I'm like, when you literally are not supposed to be laughing, but you were like peeing your pants and crying tears.
Yeah.
Yes, I
I'm
had
trying
an
to think if
arbitrator.
oh no,
Yes.
you go.
I had an arbitrator, and he literally attorney would ask a question, and he was like, "What kind of a question is that? Huh? What kind of a question is that? You think that's gonna help me? No, ask your next question." And like he kept doing that, so I turned the other way because he was so old and grumpy. But yes, all the time.
I think I've had some too. I can't like recall something specific, but some attorneys are just very like witty, and sometimes their humor, they'll say some like one-liner that's super like just just funny humor that's like what's that called? Like a dry sense of humor, and no one else is laughing, but I'll just be like and have my little like chuckle to myself and be like, okay, yeah, got it.
Oh my gosh, you guys!
So silly.
I pulled up that transcript from our crazy depot.
Stop it.
You did?
Just here's a line.
Stop!
That-
Tell us. Tell us.
Well,
I love this.
Okay. And the question doesn't really matter, but she said, I had went to see him in prison, and you could see the fetus in my belly like you can see this hernia.
But I
She probably
promise
stood
you,
up and showed us the
that's
hernia
what
right
yeah,
then.
I promise you.
Guarantee
I
it.
wish we could put like exclamation points in a transcript, because she literally was like, "This fetus like this here in my belly, see?" And she like it was a whole dramatic moment. But you just read a
Oh my
transcript and it's like
God.
this this
I know,
hernia
it
in my
looks so
belly.
calm. Like when I'm
Yeah.
looking at it, I'm like, there's
You'd never
nothing
know.
happening here.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
there's
just
crazy words, but like Yeah.
I'm dying. She said you can see this fetus, like you can see
Like this here hernia in my belly. Pulled up her shirt. I was like,
Jack, you make her sound so
I was
calm
gonna
in this transcript. So normal.
I know.
Okay.
Well, I'm reporting the words that are being said, but holy shit.
Hey, Allegra, he makes her
Yeah.
sound calm on there, but the way he reenacts her is probably perfect. It's perfect.
Actually, she's still kind of he's still making her seem calm.
Calm. Yeah.
It was that bad. Okay, we're gonna
It
have
was
to.
horrible. I could really go off, but like I feel like the microphone's gonna blast out. Like
I mean,
it
Yeah,
it's
was.
so cool if we can get the videotape of that. Oh,
oh,
you know
yeah,
what?
so-
Next time we'll get it.
Yeah, that's
I'll subpoena you, Allegra.
Oh.
Wow, crazy things. Well, I think now is a good time to segue into our case of the week. So every week we talk about a different case that's happening in the world. I don't know if you're a fan of like true crime, Allegra, or Dateline or anything, but Des and I are obsessed with all the things and all the documentaries. And lately I've honestly been on the edge of my seat with this case for so long. I can't believe, I think it happened in 2022. My dog's playing behind me, sorry. But the Brian Koberger case, the Idaho murders with the students.
It's okay. We can still hear you. Just go. It's okay. I promise. Go ahead. We can still hear you. Don't worry.
So these 4 students were living in a house, renting a house on campus of Idaho University, I believe. And someone came in the middle of the night and murdered 4 of them. And Brian Koberger is the main suspect, but it's sounding like his defense team is like gearing up for this whole crazy other story that no one has any clue about or any like suspicion about, even though his DNA was literally found on a knife sheath that was left at the crime scene from the knife he used to murder these students. But the defense is like, oh no, he did drive by the house that night. There's video footage of him driving by the house numerous times throughout the night. Or not video, I think like cell phone pinging. And they were like, he's driving to go look at the moon and the stars. He really likes to go view the moon and the stars. So I'm like, that's your defense? Like, are you kidding me? His DNA is on the scene. So I don't know if you guys know anything about this case or if you've kept up with it, but they were also deciding if it was going to be like filmed and televised and everything. I really hope they do that. Or I just hope I'm the court reporter on the case. Like someone call me right now because I need to be in there. But have you guys heard anything about this case?
Yeah, I have. I'm definitely into true crime. Like, love it. I feel like I've seen every Dateline episode ever. And
Yeah, me too.
I love Snapped, you know, the show, the wives kill their husbands, basically.
Ooh.
You've never watched Snapped?
I don't think I've watched that.
You haven't watched Snapped? And mind you, Jack, these women are crazy. They don't just kill their husbands with like a shotgun. They like brutally kill them. Like they want them to suffer.
Yeah, no, I always whenever there's like something dumb my husband does, I'm like, watch out. Episode of Snap starts.
You're gonna be on Snap next.
That's so funny.
I love all true crime. But yeah, I followed it. I feel like, you know, we're inundated with so much information when these big cases come out. So I feel like I got all of the flood of stuff in the beginning, and then I haven't kept up as much lately. Although I did see some recent updates where I think there was like texts between 2 of the girls that died that like right before they were killed,
like the roommate or something.
Yeah, saying something like they were scared or they weren't sure. I forget what the text said, but just a few more pieces of information from the crime scene. And it's just I feel like, okay, I'm firmly believe in innocent until proven guilty. Everyone's entitled to a fair trial.
Yes.
Our Constitution, you know, it's the bedrock of our legal or justice system. So, you know, I believe that. However, I feel like he's guilty.
Oh, right.
Based on everything we've heard.
I think
Right?
that the innocent until proven guilty for some people, but for him, he's guilty until proven innocent, which I don't think that's going to happen.
I mean, I don't know what his defense is going to be. I think there's a lot of things that are very damning, and it's really interesting. I mean, I feel for these, you know, these poor families. Then they have
I know. And
like,
how long it's been. It's like they just want justice, but it
Yes,
just keeps going on and on. Like, oh my
plead
gosh.
guilty.
I will say though, Jack, I think that's the reason why I haven't kept up with that case, because it's so sad how they were killed, and just I think there was something came out recently that the roommate that was there were some messages with her too, and like they think that she's involved somehow. I don't know. The case just seems very, very, very sad. And I don't know. It's just too much for me to listen to. I can't even imagine the court reporter in court having to hear all that stuff.
I can't. It's so crazy because I feel like all these crazy murders and all the things you hear about, like obviously things happen, but that this is so current and it's literally like a massacre. Like it's so brutal and like someone wandering your halls at night. And I think they're saying like his intention was to kill like one of the girls that he had this obsession with, but then just decided to kill these other ones, even though they were like laying in their bed. Like, I don't know. I'm just curious to see the whole story, and I hope we get to hear about it because there's just a lot that's unanswered. But yeah, in my heart, I feel like he's guilty, but I do think some like crazy thing is going to come out about it that's going to like flip it on its head. And I have this weird, I don't want to say like OJ feeling, but I get this weird vibe or feeling that some crazy thing's going to happen with it. I don't know why I feel that.
Yeah. I think the story's so captivating because, most true crime things that we see, like there's not a stranger coming into someone's home and slaughtering people for like no reason. Like there's no seeming reason, right? There's always a motive. You think, some jealous boyfriend or whatever it might be. Right. That's usually what you're hearing about. So to have just like literally your worst nightmare that you're sleeping in your home and a stranger breaks in and slaughters everyone in the home, like that is not something that happens every day. And it's really what you kind of fear as a child, or at least I did.
No, totally. Me too.
Totally. Yeah. Like you're just at home and your family, you wake up and your family's dead. That's what I fear too. And looking at him, I know, sorry.
No, I'm saying like I'm laughing because it's like it's our worst fear, but like we watch it every single night on TV to go to bed. Like, what's wrong with us?
I know. And we like love, and the more juicier it gets, the better. I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna get to a good part. Yep. I don't know, but seeing him in court, he looks evil. Like you can just see him, and you're like, that's what evil looks like.
Mm-hmm. It seems like this is just all a game for him, and he just wants to like outsmart everyone. And
totally,
it's just these poor families are being tortured even more the longer it goes.
Yeah.
Having to relive that is so hard too. Oh, jeez.
Well, I'd like to transition now into our brief of the week. So, Allegra, do you know what if we say a brief, what do you think that means as a court reporter?
As a court reporter?
Mm-hmm. We're like, how do you brief that? This is my brief for that.
Oh, like a shortcut?
Yeah. So even though we write in shorthand, we even we try to shortcut it even more when things get super, super long and they say things really quick. So and we talked about it today on the podcast, which is perfect. But they said it today also in my hearing a million times over and over and over, statute of limitations, statute of limitations, statute of limitations. So if we're writing that, it would be like a few strokes, like statute of, like it would still take a while to write all that. So when you realize something's being said a million times over and over really quickly, you can't keep writing it all out because your hands are going to die and you're going to fall behind and you're going to miss other words. So you make a brief for it. And the more seasoned you are as a reporter, I think it gets easier to make briefs on the fly, where you can make something up in the moment and then define it in your dictionary and then it pops up the rest of the time. So I was doing statute of limitations today. That was my big brief, and that's my brief of the week. And I was briefing it as STIGS. So it's STIGS, but in steno, GS. The letters GS in steno represent shun. So any word that ends in like ION, like shun, vacation, anything that sounds like shun is GS. So it's really stition in steno, but that's my brief for statute of limitations because it was coming up so many times and I had to think of something super quick I can write in one stroke. And that's my brief of the week. Des, do you have a brief of the week?
I don't.
Oh, is mine good enough? I also did motions and limine.
Motion and limine. Yeah, that's a good one.
Or motion and limine. I was doing MIM, MIM, and then MIMZ, MIMS for motions, plural, and limine. Because they were saying that over and over and over, and I can't keep writing motion in limine. Yeah, it was too much. Does this make any sense to you, Allegra? Or are you like, what the F are you guys on?
No, I just have I have follow-up, although I have a few follow-up questions.
Absolutely. Redirect.
Just a few.
Okay.
Is it, when you make the brief, is it like a series of like you say keystroke. So to me, I think of keystroke, like, we type like this. Mm-hmm. Are you doing like fingers at one time, like multiple fingers at one time?
Yeah. It's like playing a piano. So you're like pressing.
You're pushing it down at one time.
Right.
And when you say you did STIGS, is that like something you can do at one time?
Yeah.
One time. Mm-hmm.
I see.
So like when he was saying statute of limitations, we do stat, chew. We're coming back up. Our hands are coming back up constantly
For
to
every
stroke it.
sound.
Yeah. So
Got
if once we hear statute of limitations, if we have a brief, we hit it once and boom, it all translates into that. One
Same with
So-
like
It shortens your writing.
ladies and gentlemen of the jury, like everyone and their mother has to do that in one stroke because it's, but you know, if you were to actually write it out, you know, it'd be ladies and gentlemen. Like it's all the sounds, but when it's super quick like that, you have to make it where you can just do it in one. Mhm.
Yeah. Because if you don't shorten your writing, if you have an attorney that goes fast and you're stroking out statute of limitation, by the time you get to done with the word, he's already like 5 words, 10
Yep.
words down the line. You know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
have to really shorten your writing.
Now, do you do them ahead of time? Like, like there are some that you just already have in your dictionary.
Yep. So that's why I love getting like just even the case caption and like even when I would do your jobs, even if it was like GM or like just the initials, like I would brief just the initials so I don't even have to write all that out. Like I would just do GM or like I would make one stroke if you would ever say that. Or I even because you would do it where even if you mentioned the name, you still want it in the transcript as just the initials. So even I would define the name. So if the name was Brian, that never was. I'm just using a name, but I would define the name as the initials. So it would come up as the initials every time, even though I would write it as the name on my keyboard. So yeah, there's some prep you can do with seeing the caption. And sometimes I'll Google the case and see if I can get anything else and just define. It's mostly names that come up that I try to put in my dictionary ahead of the job.
Like, you know, when you have a videotape depo and the videographer says, okay, counsel, introduce yourselves. And you say, you know, I'm Allegra Rineer, and you say your law firm you're with. Like, I have a stroke for your name, and then I'll have one for your law firm. And that way it's just boom, boom, boom. Because, you know, the appearances, they go so fast. You guys just want to get on the record. So, yeah, I'll have a brief for your name, your firm, who you represent, and everything like that. And that way it just makes it easier.
And I even like my name, when I'm like, you know, I'm Jack Janowitz, I do me. Like I literally type me and it says Jack Janowitz. And then because now in court we have to say our own thing on the record. So I put mine 2 times and it's, hello, my name is Jack Janowitz. My CSR license number is da 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 da. And it all comes up. So you can you make up your own things for all those phrases and stuff.
It's a lot to remember.
Lot to remember. It's hard, but it's fun. Well, this was absolutely amazing. I can't thank you enough. This was so exciting to get a perspective from an attorney, you know, our field and how we collide and come together. And I think it's so cool to get different perspective from our crazy field, the legal field. There's so many things to dissect. And this was super fun to just scratch the surface. I'm sure we can go even deeper. Maybe in season 2, we'll have you back on. But just want to thank you so much. This was amazing.
Yeah, and I thank you I feel like you coming on, you're letting us know we're all a team. We're going to work together, and I love that. So I really do thank you for coming on as well.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me. This is super fun. I love that you guys are doing this. I think it's cool, and I think it's great to be able to chat about both of our perspectives, right, during the depot. I would love to know how we can help you, and obviously, I'd love feedback. So thanks for giving it to me too.
Thank you. All right. Well, have a great weekend. We'll talk soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Steno fam.